we have your back. Robin has your back. She's always looking at what's going on in the agricultural world. For example, we're reducing the red tape so it's easier for farmers to conserve inputs and double crop. For folks at home who don't know what double cropping means, harvesting 2 different crops from the same field in the same year. And that's what Jeff does with wheat and soybeans, which America is a top producer of, soybeans. And wheat will be harvested around July 4th if all goes well, God willing, and the creek not rising, as my grandfather would say. But look, then you plant soybeans in the same acreage. And he'll tell you, double cropping comes with some real risks. Growing season for wheat is short, and if the weather conditions aren't ideal or aren't at least good, or there are other disruptions, then the timing of everything is thrown off. But it's a risk we need to take. That's why my administration is looking at how to extend crop insurance coverage to give financial security to farmers like Jeff who practice double cropping. Secondly, I want to also, farmers worried about rising fertilizer costs and what is the content of the fertilizer. That's why earlier this year, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced it would invest $250 million to boost fertilizer production. Literally on the plane out here on Air Force One, I turned to Tom and I said, Tom, double that. Make it $500 million. It's so desperately needed. We can't take chances. It's critical to get this done. Now, when we leave here today, I'm heading up to Chicago. You know where Tom's going? He's heading to the airport when we get to Air Force One. He's heading to Germany, to the G7. That is all the democracies in Europe getting together and their agricultural teams getting together. North America, Europe, and Asia, they're all part of it. And to solve some really big problems. They're going to see what actions we can take to increase fertilizer supplies globally and identify how we can work together to prevent export restrictions on food and agricultural inputs and bring more global production to market, which will stabilize prices and bring more certainty for our farmers and keep people from dying of hunger. You know, this bill's in other ways as well. My administration has been working to drive down the cost to farmers, and Tom mentioned it a little bit, and prices to consumers. To reduce gas prices last month, I was in Iowa, at a biofuel processing plant, and I announced an emergency waiver to allow E15 gasoline to be sold across America during the summer. It's an extraordinary effort, but it had to be done for this summer. E15 uses more ethanol on crops grown here in Illinois and elsewhere around the country, and it can reduce the cost of a gallon of gasoline at the pump by 10 cents per gallon. Every little bit matters. I know it's a big deal, and Robin is a big supporter of this, and she's pushing it in the House as well. Only 4 big companies, by the way, control more than half the markets for beef, pork, and poultry. Without meaningful competition, our farmers and ranchers have to pay whatever the 4 big retailers say they'll pay for their chickens, their hogs, and their cattle. These big companies can use their position as middlemen to overcharge grocery stores and ultimately families. Just consider this. 50 years ago, ranchers got over 60 cents on every dollar spent to produce the beef they raise. Today, they get 39 cents. 50 years ago, hog farmers got 40 to 60 cents for each dollar the family spent raising that hog. Today, it's about 19 cents. And as a big companies made massive profits, the prices you see at the grocery stores have gone up, and the prices farmers receive has gone down. This reflects a market distorted by the lack of competition. So last year I signed, one of the first executive orders I signed was that the competition, to make competition more available and level the playing field. And though through the American Rescue Plan, we're investing about $1 billion to help smaller meat processors expand their capacity, give farmers, ranchers, and consumers more options, and at better prices. Look, I'm a capitalist, but capitalism without competition is not capitalism. It's exploitation. It's exploitation. Folks, we can make sure that American agriculture exports will make up for the gap in Ukrainian supplies. In fact, during my first year in office, American agriculture exports shattered all previous records. $177 billion last year alone. I remind people, my predecessor did not come close. By traveling in our, we have to keep investing in our farmers to reduce the cost, to reduce prices to consumers, and have the most productive, most efficient farmers in the world here in the United States. We've always combined generations of know-how with cutting-edge technology to feed us and the world. And I'm going to keep fighting for family farmers like Jeff so they can do what they do best. Hope Congress is going to join me. I know Robin's going to fight like hell to have it happen, and working hard to invest in farmers like Jeff and feed America and the world. That's what we have to do. Let me close with this. Look at the family farms like this one as a reminder of the bounty, beauty, and generosity of this nation. I know this, and you're tired of hearing me say this for the last 2 years. It's never, ever, I was in the Tibetan Plateau with Xi Jinping. I've traveled with him and spent more time with him than any other world leader has in China. And he said, he was talking about, well, America's a diminishing power. And I said, Mr. President, it's never been a good bet to bet against the American people. No one's ever won betting against the American people. And I said, and by the way, you asked, he went on and said, can you define America for me? Just me and a translator and him and a translator, simultaneous translation. By the way, I turned all my notes over to the State Department. It matters. But, you know, what happened was, he said, can you define America for me? And this is God's truth because it's been quoted 1,000 times now. I said, yes, one word, possibilities. We're the only nation in the world that has come out of every crisis stronger than we went in it. Every single time, regardless of what it was. No other nation has done that. It's one of the reasons why in some places we're called the ugly Americans. We think we can do anything. We know we can do anything. We know. This nation leads the world. We stand up for freedom. We're the United States of America. And when we are united, there's not a damn thing we can't do. It's not hyperbole. It's a fact. As a student of history, it's a fact. There's nothing beyond our capacity when we work together. Nothing. So I'm here to say, God bless our farmers, and I mean this sincerely. God protect our firefighters, and may God protect our troops. Thank you for what you do. America owes you. They owe you big.
That is President Joe Biden just wrapping up some very passionate statements, visiting a family farm in Kankakee. He was there to talk to a family about the ongoing issue of inflation, also saying farmers are the backbone of our country, citing the issue, the ongoing war in Ukraine as the reason a lot of the struggle and the prices are going up on goods around the world. The president is now going to actually head to Chicago. He will actually speak tonight to the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers at the National Conference. That speech at McCormick Place is scheduled to start about 4 this afternoon, and you will be able to watch that address live on abc7chicago.com. We will have full coverage of the president's visit beginning on Eyewitness News today at 4 o'clock. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
This has been a special report from ABC7 Eyewitness News. We now return to our regular program schedule.